Good morning. Good morning, warriors. Hey, we are off to a good semester. Another one. We just had a great fall semester. Ready for the spring semester. Welcome back, faculty. And our enrollment's looking good. So it's time to be excited. First of all, I want to start off with a video that kind of shows a little bit about who we are.
At Texas A&M Central Texas, we're built different. That's because our mission has been different from the very start. To make education accessible and our students exceptional. We believe that potential is more important than privilege, and that the people you surround yourself with shape more than just your future. Our students come from all walks of life and all over the world, and they choose Central Texas for a reason. Well, several reasons. And where they go from here, the literal sky's the limit. We're a place of learning unlike any other, with opportunities in every field. And at the doorsteps of the Hill Country, you couldn't ask for a better view. Join us at Texas A&M University, Central Texas, where potential becomes purpose. At Texas A&M.
You like that? Yeah, I thought that was great. I want to give some credits to some people that put that together, though. The script, the talent, and the placement, and the production was done by our own Dr. Corinne Close. Where is Corinne? Back there hiding. But all of the videography, the video editing, and the final production were done at the system office by Chad Cockrum, Stephen O'Shea, Brian Wright, Mark Guerrero. They had a great time. They came out and they did the filming, and they love this place. And I just heard Corinne was telling me that they have a new person who's in charge of marketing at the system office. Saw the video and said, I love you guys. And so I think we're going to see more of this. And I just want to say thank you. Thanks, Corinne. Thanks to that team. But also thanks to all of the faculty, staff, and students that participated in making that happen. Now, the next is, and you can see this, that we had a fun time with the Colleen Christmas Parade. And this was a great family affair. You can see that in the picture. We've got some of the kids from the families. But I just want to say, thank you, Sean. Will you stand up and take a bow? He made the sleigh and the reindeer that we're riding on, that Kate and I are riding on. And Ruben provided the truck and the flat top. So thanks, Ruben. And that some of your kids were helping there. But we had a whole team, a cast of characters that made this happen. And one of the things you saw in the picture were some people like Tatiana that were wearing some short skirts. Well, they were the dancers, and they didn't get to ride. They walked the whole thing dancing to the music. So thank you to the whole team. That was amazing. So with that, next one, we won the trophy. So that is pretty cool. I think it's the first time, is it right? First time that we have won. So team effort to make it happen. So why do I bring that forward? Other than I'm very proud of the team for making it happen. But, last time in the fall convocation, we talked about our strategic plan. And when you take a look at our strategic plan and the different parts of it, how does that fit in? Well, let me tell you how it fits in. So when we talk about strategies within our strategic plan, 3 of those specifically that relate to this: community collaboration, awareness, we're making ourselves aware within the community by participating, and employee experience. So everybody coming together, it's a team effort. And then when we look at what are our values relating to this, creativity, thank you, Sean, and community connection. So we are a part of the community. And so I just want to say thank you to the team for making this happen, making us shine, and having fun doing it. Now the next one, and I'll give you just a couple of quick updates of some things that are happening. One of them tomorrow, Temple College, who's one of our great partners, is having a ribbon cutting ceremony for a brand new building, of which they have given us space, free of charge, for us to start a university center. And when Dr. Christy Ponce, the president of Temple College, told us that she was considering a university center within that building, and she told me this about two years ago, and she said, I'm thinking about inviting different universities to kind of have a place here. And I said, I think you're wrong there. I think it should be one university that has a place there, and that is Texas A&M University Central Texas. And so we are going to be the sole university center provider there. So excited about that. If you can make it to the ribbon cutting tomorrow, it's at 10 o'clock at Temple College. A couple other things is we are moving very rapidly now with our first 2 doctoral degree programs. So the EDD is scheduled to go before the coordinating board on the 22nd of January for approval. From there, then it goes to SACS, our accrediting body, for approval, but that should happen fairly quickly so that we can have our first, Kelly's laughing, I said fairly quickly, so that we can have our first cohort of students the fall of 2027. Right behind it, and Kelly got good news yesterday, is our DBA. And so we are in position now to where possibly we can send the 2 to SACS together. And so that is faster than what we expected on the DBA moving forward. So good news there. Another part of good news that we just got, and hopefully we'll get the second half of the good news today, but last week the House of Representatives passed it's the Commerce, Justice, and Science Minibus bill. They passed it in the House last week. The Senate supposedly will pass it today sometime. That includes 2 CPFs, community project funding grants to us. One sponsored by Congressman Pfluger for $995,000 to start a high-performance research computing lab. The second is $1.99 million, and that's from Judge Carter, Congressman Carter, for a semiconductor design lab. And so both of those hopefully will be approved by the Senate today, and then we'll go to the President's office for signature. So we're excited to see some of this happening, and it's going to be here fast. Now, the next thing, I think I am turning it over to Provost Clifton to take it from here.
Good morning. Good to see everybody here. What a great turnout. I mean, this place is filled. There are additional seats up front for those of you standing in the back. If you would like to move up and squeeze into one of the seats, you're welcome to do so. But glad to have everyone here. It's my privilege to take a few minutes and introduce some of the folks that have joined our great community here since we last met in September. We've got 2 new faculty members. One is Dr. Kristen Alecki. Is Dr. Alecki here? There's Dr. Alecki. Glad to have you here. She is an assistant professor on tenure track in the social work program. We've also got a lady that has joined our faculty, Dr. Deborah Donnelly McClay. Is Dr. Donnelly McClay here? She's in Florida. Okay. She's helping us remotely. She is in the aviation science area, so she's working with Dr. Griffin, and we've got some great things going on there as we move forward to expand that. Shout out to Dr. Griffin. Enrollment in that program continues to grow. You're doing an amazing job. Even though they're not flying rotary wing, it's fixed wing, They're doing good stuff, so thank you for everything you're doing. Dr. Donnelly McClay is a visiting assistant lecturer with us this spring as we move to expand our aviation science efforts into UAS, Unmanned Autonomous whatever system. That was my first guess, but I didn't want to say it. Anyway, so drones and things like drones, so very excited about that. We also have some new staff members as well. I'll run down these. We have Ms. Tyler Hudson, who's a Title IV Administrative Associate. Ms. Hudson here? Some of these folks are actually working while we're in here eating pancakes and crispy bacon. Mr. Benjamin Cox in multimedia. Is Mr. Cox in here? He's in there. Hey. He's helping make sure all this works right, so we need him in there. A particular note, we have a new Dean of Students, Dr. John Howe, coming here from Iowa. Dr. Howe. It is warmer here today than it is in Iowa, I am told on his authority. Had the opportunity to meet this new staff person a little bit earlier today, Ms. Brenda Maxwell, who's a recruiter and enrollment specialist. Brenda. We have a new law enforcement officer, Mr. Garrison McGee. There's Mr. McGee in the back, taking good care of us. Have a new graphic designer, Ms. Kiara Camacho. Kiara here? There she is. New military and veterans benefits specialist, Ms. Nadine Tucci. There she is, Nadine. Glad to have you on board. And finally, new police communications officer, Ms. Dominique Wesley. There she is. Glad to have you. So as we welcome some folks that are new to our community here, we also want to take a minute and pay a special tribute to a faculty member that has meant so much to this school in our short history. She's done an amazing job. She continues to help us out a little bit in an adjunct role, but at the November Board of Regents meeting, she was recognized as an Associate Professor Emerita of Management. You know, of course, I'm talking about Dr. Barb Altman. 15 years of service. Come on up, Barb. You got room for this? I know you have a lot of other awards in your home office, so we'll have to find a spot for it. Why don't you come up? Thank you. Get a good picture of it. Okay, let's keep our program moving right along. I think our next item is to talk about our Warrior Legends Gala, and I'm looking for Mr. Charlie Ayers. Come on up, Charlie. Hopped right on. There you go.
Well, so I just want to remind you real quick that we have a very special event coming up. I have it on the screen up here, March 14th. For your convenience, there's a QR code if you'd like to go ahead and register for the event. But we're excited about this. If you're not familiar with the Warrior Legends Gala, this event is serving two important purposes, as a matter of fact. This event raises money for our Warrior Legends Scholarship Fund, which is a significant scholarship fund that our foundation board uses to invest in students in our future workforce. And also this year is very special because we are actually going to be doing a special dedication to former retired Lieutenant General Pete Taylor. Go ahead and let the cat out of the bag right now. You are very familiar with the Torch Tower when you drive up. We are dedicating that tower to General Taylor. We'd love for you to be a part. You can go online and register. Many of you who get the eWarrior newsletter, this has been in the newsletter the last few months. If you're unsure about anything, all you have to do is come to Suite 416. We'll crack open a monster and we'll sit down and we'll tell you how to be involved. And if you're like, I don't have time to go to a dinner, that's okay. We have a little spot where you can just donate. You don't even have to come eat. You just get some money. So we appreciate any support because at the end of the day, it supports our students. And we also would love for you to participate. We're very excited about having General Taylor's family here that weekend or that evening. And we're also excited to have a special guest, Mr. Tim Green, who is the director of the Bush Combat Complex in College Station. He's going to be here that evening to kind of challenge us to carry the torch, continue what General Taylor started. So thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you or hearing from you. Thank you for the time.
Hope I got this right order. He's up next. I didn't.
I wasn't even going to make you go up.
Let's see, how about this? You might stay there, yes. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here with all of my fellow warriors and celebrating the Staff and Supervisor Enrichment Awards. I'm happy to fill in for our Human Resources Officer, Tina, who can't be here in person today. But first, as you can see on the screen, I'd like to take a moment and just offer our sincere thanks to both the Beck family and the Yowell family who sponsor these awards. Matthew Yowell is here today to represent the Yowells. Mr. Yowell currently serves on our University Foundation Board and is a legacy alumni as well. So anyway, we appreciate Matt being here, and thank you. Next slide. So HR has prepared a nice set of slides here with the 10 awardees, the recipients, if you will, of the Staff Enrichment Awards. There's also a Supervisor Enrichment Award, and we have 2 of those every year. So here's the criteria for the staff side. As you can see, they have to demonstrate some abilities, be able to obviously go above and beyond, and kind of do those 3 C's: the collaboration, the communication, and cooperation. And I think you'll see these folks are all very good examples of that around the university. So I'm happy to present these today. On the supervisor side, the criteria is slightly different, but generally the same. Keep the lines of communication open, encourage professional development. What's that career ladder for all our staff? That's a huge thing for me, and I believe these 2 supervisors are good examples of that as well. And then obviously leadership. Okay, so without further ado, I think we're into our first Staff Excellence Award winner, and she's not here today with us. She's not here today. But HR did ask me to, for those of you that don't know Natalie, she's 100% remote, but she's critical and that we all get paid. So Natalie in the HR department is super excited to offer the first award to her. Next up, we have someone from the President's Office, Dr. Corinne Close. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Please come up. Yeah, please come up and stay for a photo afterwards as well. Sorry. Thank you, Corinne. Thank you. Thanks. Can you just we're going to do a photo. Yeah, go ahead and go down. We're going to line you all up. Yeah. All right. Next up, Mia Coltrane. Office of Graduate Studies. Yeah, not sure Mia's in the room with us. Some folks are still online, I know. I know she was, please come up. I'm sorry, I missed you. Thank you, Mia. Congratulations. Yeah, thank you. Mia, can you stay? I know Corinne's, she's got to leave, but we're going to do a quick photo at the end. Thank you. All right, next up, from the Office of Enrollment Management, Jerry Jaime. Thank you, Jerry. Okay, now moving on, Debbie Morrison from Human Resources. Thank you, Debbie. Congratulations. Besides her great work in human resources, Debbie is also our wellness person, if you haven't noticed. That's awesome. Thank you, Debbie. Dr. Murphy from the Office of, the Division of Research and Innovation. Thank you all. All right, another Human Resources, Marissa Perez. There she is. Thank you, Marissa. You might notice a trend here. Next up, sitting next to Marissa, Asia Terry. Thanks, Asia. And I know the director, Tina, really wanted to be here today for these, so I bet you she's watching online, so good job, y'all. All right, next up, from the Office of, come on, write this one down. College of Business Administration. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Patrice. Congratulations. And one more from the Office of Student Financial Assistance, Andrew Woodward. There he is. All right. So if it's okay, how about you take this side and I'll go the other side. I'll represent HR. But wait, there's more. Okay, now for the second group is our our supervisory awards. And there are, as mentioned, there's only two, but these are special because they do a little bit extra work sometimes on the supervisory side. So, first of all, are we on the right one, Melissa? Okay, first award in the Distinguished Supervisor Award, Doctora Loida Gonzalez Utley. Sorry. For those of you that don't know, Doctora is in recognition of another thing we need to congratulate, our recent doctoral graduate. Yes, thank you. Thanks. Typical doctorate. Yeah. Congratulations, sincerely. And one last, Dr. Yoon J. I'm sorry, not doctor, not yet. Yoon J. June, come up. Sorry, I caught you. Yeah, let's do one more photo. Thank you. Okay, back. And next up, Dr. Rose. Caroline. Yes.
Let's see if I can bring this down. Okay, good morning. So we received 6 nominations for the Fall 2025 Torch Award. The nominees are Shay Bird, Warrior Center for Student Success; Shelby Claridge, Records and Admissions; Shanika Green, Office of the Provost; Emily Marshall, University Library and Archives; Catherine Weiss, College of Arts and Sciences; and Mackenzie Wolf, Recruitment and Enrollment Services. The winner of the Fall 2025 Torch Award is Emily Marshall, University Library.
I haven't either. It's bigger.
It's bigger.
Yes.
So this is the passing of the torch from Kimberly to...
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You got it? Picture? Yes.
Okay.
Then the speech.
Don't drop it.
That's what I was...
Okay. Okay.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Madeline Schell. I'm the presiding officer for our Faculty Advisory Council, and I just wanted to give a quick reminder to faculty that we will have our third Faculty Advisory Council Summit on February 6th. When we were having conversations about what we wanted to do this year and whether we wanted to continue this, the biggest feedback we got was that it was really rewarding to be able to engage with our colleagues and have conversations about our teaching and our scholarships. So that's really the focus this year. So I have sent out a link. Please RSVP. So we have a head count. It will be noon to 3. We'll have lunch, some conversations about teaching and student success. President and Provost have agreed to do a Q&A, so bring your questions for them. And then we'll have a chance to showcase your teaching and scholarship that you're currently doing. If you're interested in presenting at the poster session, I think we have 5 or 6 more stipends available, so please submit for those. And everyone is welcome. Please just RSVP. Thanks.
All right. I am excited for this next part, and that is a panel to talk about, oh, did I miss something? What? Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Todd is going to talk about an update.
He's excited that I'm here as well, but not as much as Mr. Subani. He's more, but bottom line is, thank you very much, Dr. Rhodes. He did ask me to just kind of give a brief update on a couple of current events and things that are going on this spring. So as most of you have probably heard, but if you're new, the CORE facility stands for Central Operational Reliability and Efficiency Facility. It was based on a concept that was developed many years ago by Dr. Carter Horn, Dr. Nigliazzo, kind of based on the master plan. And in a nutshell, what it is, it's the underlying infrastructure to allow us to expand campus more effectively, more efficiently. And it provides a lot of the efficiencies and utility services that will allow us to build new buildings next. So moving forward, it was funded by the state legislature, thanks to some of our government relations folks. Several years ago, the state legislature funded the project. It was the priority at the time to build that infrastructure out. Like most buildings to date, it's a sort of a hybrid building. So on one side of the building, it's all about facilities and utilities and emergency operations, keeping us functional during those winter storms and so forth. On the other side of the building, the University Police Department will have their permanent home with space for their offices, space for operations, space for things like dispatch and parking services, and a training facility as well. So all that's coming online this spring. From the front side, going back to what we just said, on the left side of the building, that's the facilities where SSC, Sean's team, those folks, and the utilities operations will be focused on the left side. That kind of slanted area in the middle is a room, not this large, but a training center with one large classroom that can be split into two when needed. So that's in the middle there. And then on the right-hand side, that will be the police department and all the associated public safety functions. So moving forward, what's the timeline? They're in the process, as most of you know, they're in the process of testing the power function, and we appreciate everybody's patience during these power outages that have been happening overnight. It's been kind of a pain for everybody, but fortunately they're almost done with the testing. One more, Sean says. They're almost done with the testing of the power side of it. They also have to do some final touch-up things and obviously move furniture and computers in. That should happen by the month of February. Hopefully everybody will be moving in March, and then in April we haven't scheduled a day yet, but we'll have a big grand opening and a tour, open house type thing as well in April. So that's very exciting. Next, even more exciting, we are finally at a point where we have a plan, an official final plan to submit to the Board of Regents for housing. And the first round is going to be, a little bit more like student apartment style housing. It will be suites with 2 or 4 bedrooms, private bedrooms with their own doors and things like that. So probably a little bit more upper division graduate type housing than it will be younger students. But that should be it is going to the board next month. Should it be approved for funding, which 99% sure will be funded. And then we'll start the actual design, engineering, architectural work later this year, construction to start next year, and move in by middle of 2029. That's the plan. Whoops, I went too fast, sorry. I gave away the last one. Help me. I just clicked back. Okay. Yeah, thanks. One last thing about student housing. It's very, it took a long time to get to this point. I wanted to say it's sort of been a long and winding road to get to this plan. We're very excited, and we're 99% certain this is going to go forward. And I just wanted to make sure everyone's aware of it. We're not renting out rooms yet or anything. We're not taking a wait list or anything like that yet. But we'll be working with the student affairs group and setting up the process for doing that in the next couple of years. Sorry. And now, one more. There we go. Last but not least, Melissa Barlow and her team have been working very diligently on dining to replace the former vendor. And we believe we found a very great new partner for the space. So it's over where the dining services were last spring. They'll open next Tuesday, so for the first day of class, they'll start up. There'll be breakfast and lunch served. It started as a small food truck environment in the Houston area. They've moved to Killeen area now, so the mother and her daughter are going to open this up, and we really feel they have a very neat philosophy in my mind. It's sort of a family tradition with them. I think the menu is going to be very much to most people's liking. It's relatively low cost, and if you don't know exactly where that is, it's behind the Welcome Center in Founders Hall in that dining space there. So please utilize them. See how it fits for you. I'm personally very excited about the potential of a Taco Tuesday. I hear that's coming, and foot traffic is very important. I say that on purpose. We really encourage everyone to utilize the service and even promote it with, maybe the community. They're happy to have guests come in and serve lunch, so they're going to do a little bit more marketing perhaps than the former vendor did. So we're kind of hopeful of making it a real going concern, and hopefully we can maybe get some expanded hours as well. So thank you. That's what I had for today. Appreciate each and every one of you, and go Warriors.
Howdy, my name's Scott F. Lawton. I'm the director of the Military Talent Pipeline, and foremost, I realize that I am in the way of you seeing the headliner, so I'll go through my 63 slides quickly. Thank you. Slide 2. No, I'm just kidding. As a matter of refresher, the last Texas legislative session tackled the problem of workforce. So in Central Texas, some key industries are growing faster than we can produce employees to fill them. So one of the solutions to that was to horizontally grow the workforce with service members who are stationed in Texas to entice them to take jobs in Texas rather than return back to New York, New Jersey, Iowa, et cetera. And so they appropriated money for the establishment of the Military Talent Pipeline, curated by our university right here, and then thankfully, I got my dream job and I'm the director. So having said that, now that's the charter tied to the funding. The mission statement tied to the president, right, and everybody's got a boss, and I'm really into mine. His was to develop synergies between the Department of the Army, the university, and the community. And so that cast a little bit wider web. And so what I'd like to do now, just briefly, is tell you some of the activities our university is involved with. And the word was synergy, so by definition, it requires more than one actor. So here is what our team is getting done in the Military Talent Pipeline. Working with the IT business department, in the spring we're going to bring on a portal that'll pull growing industries, specifically the semiconductor industry, the education enterprise to include our junior college partners and the university that offer STEM-specific and advanced manufacturing degrees, and placement services for veterans and their families into one location. So rather than it being a dartboard approach to getting veterans in growing jobs, there's a central location that we can market and direct people to and create a smooth path for that. Working with the Student Affairs and Veteran Services, we're undergoing a seismic refresh of the Fort Hood Education Center. Great facility, but there's some opportunities and mechanisms that are now available that they're not quite aware of, and we're going to infuse them with that intellectual capital and broaden that pipeline and that connectivity. Working with the College of Arts and Sciences, we've established two work-study degrees, two student worker positions, thank you, to function as assistant recruiter. I don't know if you know this, the ROTC detachment is almost at exponential growth, and their quality rating based on the performance of the cadets is in the top quartile, which is amazing. So to keep that trajectory going, we have a couple work-study recruiting jobs that are going into that. Thank you. On that note, my thanks to the HR department, not connected to me, established an internship program for transitioning service members at Fort Hood. So going forward, we may see some service members that are over here on an internship program who are exploring potential careers in higher education. What's consumed a lot of my time, thankfully, lately, is 3 Corps has approached us, that's the controlling headquarters at Fort Hood, and says we have a warfighting readiness gap in our swing in 3 key areas. And we'd like you to establish we, the university, our team, to establish 3 continuing education programs, each with 3 courses each. Those are in the area of software development, data analytics, and unmanned aerial system management. So not how to operate it, but how to manage it as a program. We're excited about that, and that's been done with partnerships, the College of Arts and Science and the College of Business Administration. They're doing a great job. We're also working with the Military Veteran Services on campus to reinvigorate our Student Veteran Association. We have a charter, and we're going to bring some great talent into that and make that a thriving organization that benefits both the university and the students. That's in the near term. Looking a little farther out, downtown Killeen, using a Housing and Urban Development grant, we're refurbishing what was known as the Blackboard building. What it'll be known as is a Forge. It'll be a small business development center with some makerspace to foster entrepreneurial activities and new businesses in the community, and it'll have some additional utilization for classroom space and a small-scale advanced manufacturing lab. 3Corps has also asked us to put together an executive education program where one night a month they have dinner, and then we'll have a speaker on here that talks at the executive level how to utilize and the benefits of the soldiers they're putting through the continuing education program. That'll be a lot of fun. And then additionally, long term, in the spring, we're looking at expanding the military talent pipeline that we have here to a hub and spoke network that connects with Fort Bliss, and probably our step after that will be Dyess Air Force Base. Just as a reference point, in the 4-state area, Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, New Mexico, there are 22 Department of Defense active duty installations. That's a lot of veterans that can feed both the education enterprise with the GI Bill, et cetera, and that can meet workforce demands in a growing economy. And we look forward to that. I'm on the Global, I'm in my office, and I look forward to answering any of your questions and spending more time on this topic, and I'm all open to suggestions. Slide 3, please. No. All right, and now it's my pleasure to bring on the headliner, our president. Thank you.
You know, Scott was talking about the hub and spoke. We're actually on the 26th and 27th of this month, actually having a team. General Funk is here with us. You know, 4-star general is going with us. But if you don't know, so we talked earlier about General Pete Taylor. His son, General Kurt Taylor, is the commanding general of Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. So we're going down to visit with him, and that is going to be our first spoke. We will be the hub, and that will be our spoke. So we're going on the 26th, 27th to help create that relationship with them, with El Paso Community College, and with the University of Texas at El Paso. So looking forward to that. Now, I'm excited for this because everywhere you go today, you hear about AI. And what does that mean, and what does it mean to education? What does it mean to business and industry? What are the expectations? And when we think about, you know, we are in the business of training and educating young people and older people to go into the workforce. So what does the workforce expect? Regardless of what the major is, what do they expect our students to understand and to know? And one of the conversations that's on a global scale right now, I would say, is utilization of AI. And what's the right fit for it? And what is the ethical use? What's the efficiency? And so today we wanted to have a panel to kind of discuss that and open up this conversation because that's what's important, is to have the conversation about what it means and what it means specifically to Texas A&M University Central Texas. So I'm excited because we have one of our best friends for Texas A&M Central Texas, and Mr. Abdul Subani, who has been a longtime supporter of this university. And when I think about people who are knowledgeable about whether we're talking cybersecurity, data analytics, talking about AI now, I always think first, Abdul Subani. He is like a brother, and just so happy to have him up here. He is going to be the moderator of the panel, but we also have with us, representing industry, to give us some thoughts about what does industry think and what do they expect, is Jim Rebesco. And so lives in the Austin area, but had started a company, StriveWorks, and we are so glad to have him up here because he knows. I had the opportunity to have a conversation with him, and I'll tell you what, I was blown away. And then we've got two of our faculty who are utilizing AI as we speak. So proud of them and what they've been able to do. And so they're going to participate in this conversation. So we've got Dr. Sung Lee, Assistant Professor of Marketing, and Dr. Don Reese, Assistant Professor of Nursing. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Abdul.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Rhodes. Appreciate everybody being here today and everybody who's online watching us today. I will ask to have a little bit more background of each one of our panelists. So we'll start with Dr. Reese. If you can give a little bit more background of yours.
I'm Dr. Don Reese. I'm assistant professor in the College of Arts and Sciences, and I am a dabbler in all things technology. If there's a button that needs to be pushed, I'll push it. So when AI came out, it was exciting, and teaching online asynchronous, I already know it's going to be used, whether I want it to be used or not. So I needed to be on the forefront of finding out how to use it ethically. I have published a journal article in nursing on how to use it ethically for faculty, and I have just completed a systematic review with some of my colleagues here on educational needs for faculty in higher education.
Thank you. Dr. Lee, if you can do that.
Hi, my name is Sammi Lee. I'm a department from Management Marketing. And last year, I won the award about the Innovative Teaching Award in the Conference American Collegiate Marketing Educators. So that time, I introduced the curriculum, how we can incorporate the AI in the curriculum so that how can students be more competent and feel confident using AI before they graduate. And thanks to that award, I also had an opportunity to introduce my curriculum to Texas A&M system as a representative of the A&M Central Texas. So it's my honor to be here to share my thoughts.
The next panelist, Dr. Rubesco, I got to meet him about, I would say, 5.5, 6 years ago in Austin. Both of us at that time were talking to a big consulting firm regarding the new Army installation, which was coming up at that time, Army Futures Command, which is now T2Com. So we became good friends. He's one of the smartest people I know, and I think a most relevant person for today's conversation. So, Dr. Rubesco, if you can, I know you're a humble guy, but I would like you to give a little bit of a background for the audience to understand your background.
Yeah, thank you, Abdul, and thanks to everybody here at Texas A&M Central Texas for having me. It's great to be here. So my journey into AI, I guess, started when I was an undergraduate finishing up, and I told my senior advisor that I wanted to go get a doctorate in AI, and he got this kind of pinched, kind of queasy look on his face, and he was like, is that even really a thing? And so about 20 years later, I think it's really, really exciting to see how, not just in industry, in national security, but also in education, how AI has not just become, a field of study, but also a tool, for facilitating that study and for facilitating industry. And it's just really exciting to see, and it's great to be here.
Well, thank you. So I have some questions that I would like to ask, but also we'll do some follow-ups, and I'm hoping we will have some time to ask also from the audience some questions as well. So we'll start with Dr. Lee. What are some effective uses of AI that you have seen in the classroom that you are utilizing?
So as Dr. Rubesco mentioned, now the AI is not just a kind of knowledge or the tool that, we might know. It is kind of more essential these days. So I incorporate the AI tools in the whole curriculum in the marketing. So I teach marketing, and in the beginning, they have the one semester project. they pick a one company or company they work for or they want to get a job, and then they research based on their target or the company's strategy by using AI. And then when they develop the tangible strategies, they create the contents by using AI tools. But it's not just kind of video editing or just kind of create a photo. They develop the strategy with the AI, but not just kind of just writing, build a strategy, but they learn how to write the right proper prompt. And with the developing the prompt, their prompt skill get matured and develop their AI knowledge, how they can communicate better. Based on the results, they are communicating with the AI skills grow up, and based on those results, they create the tangible things. And I have students who look for a job, who is working, and even considering starting business, because many of our students are veterans, so they are considering to open the business. And recently I interviewed them, and it was very helpful to leverage their resource.
Dr. Rubesco, can you mention how are you utilizing, I know if you can give a little bit of a background of your current company that you are running, and also how you're utilizing AI operationally, internally in your company, and then we'll talk later about how you're helping the customers as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, maybe to take a half beat back, and maybe actually just kind of ask the audience, just to kind of calibrate, show of hands, who uses an AI tool here in the audience once a week? I'm seeing, I'd say maybe about 80%. And so maybe I'd start to the 20% who didn't raise their hand, and say, hey, why not, right? And is it a question of I don't understand what this does for me, I don't understand why it's useful, I don't trust it. These are all kind of valid questions and valid concerns. And so, I'll also kind of maybe to that 20% give you a little bit of a gotcha, which is if you've booked a flight, if you've driven on a Department of Texas highway, if you've gone on the internet, if you've seen an ad served to you, if you bought anything on Amazon, the list goes on. Well, you did interact with AI. You might not have known it, but you did. And so I think kind of the reality is where we're at today is that it is all around us. It's impacting kind of every aspect of our lives, of our business lives, of our education. The question is what do we do with it? So, Abdul, I promise I'll actually answer your question now. And so, what we do as a company is we manage kind of all that invisible plumbing that makes that work, right? How do I get data that's relevant to these AI models? How do I know that the right model is being interacted with by that data? And how do I present a result to a user that actually matters? So, for the folks who are familiar kind of with, how the internet works, when I go to, www.google.com, what happens? My computer is not just interacting with one server, one Google server out there in Mountain View. It's interacting with a whole myriad of other things, and they're asking the question, hey, do I need to actually go all the way back to Mountain View where Google's at? Can I just go and pull this off a locally cached server and everything in between? There's this amazing amount of infrastructure that's built to support the most basic things we do with technologies like the internet. And AI needs that same kind of scaffolding and that same kind of framework, but there's more. And I think this maybe goes to that 20% of the audience. If you don't trust it, why not? And you probably hear a lot of things, but they all kind of boil down in many ways to hey, how do I know that the answer I'm getting is the right answer for what I'm asking? And we've all seen examples of where that's wrong. And I think a big part of that is that, you want those AI models to be very adaptive. You want them to understand the world they're in. You want them to adjust and learn in the same way that human beings do, folks getting educated do. You want them to learn to not make the same mistake twice. And that's particularly relevant when you talk about matters of national security and defense, where highly consequential decisions are being made, one, and kind of two, by definition, a lot of what you're seeing maybe you haven't seen before. And so the way we handle that with human beings is with training, is with doctrine. We lay down ground rules. Here's what we expect you to do. Here's how we expect you to operate. And then we lay in on top of that intent, good leadership. Hey, like, I may not, if I'm in charge, if I'm the commander, I may not be able to prepare you for every kind of circumstance that you may see once we lose the ability to kind of communicate in real time. But here's what I'm trying to achieve. Here's what I'm expecting you to achieve. And now I'm going to kind of allow you to use your best judgment to affect that. And kind of putting that sort of scaffolding in place around thinking machines, around AI, is it's non-trivial work, as you can probably imagine from hearing about it, but that's kind of like the core of what we focus on. So hopefully that's helpful.
Great, thank you. Dr. Reese, if somebody questions right now, at least the 20% who are not utilizing, and then you being in the nursing department, I think a lot of people would not think that medical field is utilizing AI, because we would like to have a very touchy-feely thing about medical backgrounds. So would you tell us how do you ensure that AI enhances learning rather than replacing critical thinking? Because in your background and in your field, that's a little bit of different.
So yes, it's nursing specific that I teach, but it's nurse management. So it's at a different level than that hands-on part. But who here likes AI? Anybody actually like interacting with it? Do you think that you have enough support to do it ethically? Here? Kind of, maybe need a little bit more. And that's what our students feel as well. Because they want to know, well, and I make the assumption they're going to use it. I actually force them to use it. They don't have a choice because of the fact that the market is looking for people that are, when they graduate, they're able to use the resources at their availability. So for my nursing management class, I have utilized it quite frequently. How do I get them to think? Because is technology making us smarter? I don't know if that's the correct answer, but it's here, so we have to use it. So, and to assume that, and I don't have time to figure out if people are cheating or not, so I have to modify. I'm the one that has to modify and adapt to what is out there. So the way I use it is, does anybody teach online asynchronous? I might have more people over there, in the online environment. Discussion boards. Has anybody had to do those? Aren't they fun? And as an instructor now that I grade them, I'm like, oh my gosh. So those are the first things I attacked. We can actually get our students thinking at a higher level. A lot of the discussion boards will apply this concept, whatever it may be. I'm now having them take that original STEM, running it through not just one generative AI site, but multiple. They need to see what the differences are between the AI out there. They need to see what this one does and what that one does. Then I have to relate that back to actually specific charts in their textbook. And I say, now what wasn't identified? What did these sites show you that were applicable, that were relevant? So now I've got them evaluating information, and they learned. Plus, it's much more fun to grade. It is so much better for me, too. Making our assignments relevant to the current practices, to the current needs, is our job. It can be scary and it's hard, especially if you taught somebody some content that you just really were invested in. We've got to be able to pivot, and we've got to be able to provide our students with what is expected out there. So it's not just used for writing emails, because I have done that. Please make this kinder so I can send this out. But prompt engineering was already brought up. It's extremely important to teach your AI how you write. Everybody should be introducing themselves. I call mine Bob. Bob and I have an ongoing conversation, and I've uploaded my writing style. I've uploaded who I am. I mean, your prompts need to be long, so you're teaching that. And that's what I teach my students. And I use it. I use it all the time. And I put in there an acknowledgement. This is how I've used this, because that's what I want to see from them. They have to do acknowledgements. It's here whether we like it or not, so we might as well learn to adapt with it.
Right, thank you. Dr. Lee, I'm sure there's a lot of faculty members here who are not utilizing it, and they're probably thinking that I need some expertise to utilize AI in the classroom. I wanted to ask you if you can give a little bit like, what is the quote-unquote experience or technical expertise they need to utilize AI in the classroom?
I think one short answer is just do it. Any tool. Start with any tool. I like the Dr. Robasco called the AI as thinking machine. Those who are in the here, 80 to 90% have used AI. How much are you satisfied with the one-time conversation and satisfied with the result? Just, oh, it's 100% what I'm into. Actually, not really. So that is because, so as I mentioned, prompt is also, your prompt skill get matured by learning with the conversation and then reiterate what you want to deliver. From that practice, your prompt skills mature and growing. And by learning that, your result can be more sophisticated and then can be more tailored what you want it to be. So I use the AI usage log, AI prompt journal. So I not just introduce the student, oh, these are the AI tools that you use. I give them some introductory video. There are some AI tools exist, but I open the maximum degree of the freedom. Just try it and write the log. Which kind of tools you have used it, and then what kind of prompt you wrote, and then how much you're satisfied result. Some students just have the 2 logs when they submit it. I don't give them the minimum or the maximum requirement. Some students are really passionate to learn about and they want to have the high expectation of the real result, and they have 20 lines about those kind of logs. And definitely their result is different. So the more you use it, the more you can be more proficient to how to communicate with AI. But this is not just kind of special skills or the technical expertise how to communicate AI. I mean, think about it. When we also communicate with the person to person, it is important to exactly what we want to deliver and how to structure our conversation. So it is also by experiencing that we're learning about it. And I believe students have to be done this while they are in the university. I mean, when they go to the work, professional, someone already paid for them, and then they have to be professional. But in the university, with our class, this is a kind of great sandbox that they can trial error, and then they learn about it. And especially, I introduce many tools that used in the industry, such as Figma. So Figma is very popular tool, kind of alternative as the Photoshop. The lovely thing is they have free account, free trial for the university account. So I introduced many of those kind of university free account, which is super expensive in the industry, and the students can play with that. And that is the role that we should do it.
Great. I know I'm a little biased of the CIS department here at the university. So I'm thinking that Dr. Jones, our provost, will also do some training sessions for our faculty and staff, and our CIS department can probably host those as well for some of the faculty members who are now utilizing it. So my day job is I'm the president and CEO of an IT consulting company that I founded actually 20 years and 2 days and a few hours ago. Recently we did our 20-year anniversary. So I'm sure I'm going to ask Dr. Robesco also. We were utilizing AI years ago in some way or fashion as well. Just like somebody came up with a good word, cloud, we were also doing hosting, which was not called cloud, but they were still in the cloud. It's a similar kind of thing in the AI as well. So I'll give a little bit of a background on one of our customers that we were helping about 10 years ago. It was Emirates Bank in Dubai. One of their biggest challenges, and if a few of you know how Dubai is, what the population is, they're from all over the world, majority of the people who live there. And the biggest challenge that they had over 450 customer service reps. And the question that it will come about 85% of the time that they will call, is to get the wiring instructions, because they are sending money back into the countries where they're from, or they're receiving money from the countries because they are students who are studying in Dubai. Like I said, this was about 10 years ago or so. Somehow that came to my company, and what we did is we created a chatbot at that time. So basically, in different languages. So because they used to have that 450 customer service reps who will have different language skills and so forth to just contact in and get that information. So we put that in on their website, and anybody types in, they have to provide that information, and it was totally automated, nobody there. So I'm sure 10 years ago, the people who were working, 450 of them were not happy with us, because that went down to about 1/4 of the people, because they had to cut those positions down because we utilized that. So the moral of this is to tell you that it's happening even before also, but the way it was happening, there was not actually a name for it and so forth. But now we are actually going into the totally generative side of the things as well. So with that said, Dr. Rubisco, if you can tell the things that you are doing, maybe you can give us one example that you're working on the government agency, like Army or other agencies that you're working with. Army will be relevant because we're right next to one of the largest installation in the world. And maybe one example for a civilian company.
Yeah, for sure. So, I guess kind of like when we talk about AI, I think maybe for a lot of folks, the first kind of thing you think of is ChatGPT, right? Or something like ChatGPT, a chatbot, kind of like Abdul you talked about with the wires, that you kind of can chat with and interact with. And I think that's like a form factor that people are getting increasingly, familiar with. But there's, when I kind of was making my comments earlier in the panel here about how everybody interacts with AI, whether you want to or not. The examples I chose there were kind of deliberately, things where AI is operating in the background, and like what it's surfacing to you is a little bit different. And so when we talk about, the stuff that we're doing, with the Department of Defense, with the Army and that, I think kind of like one important, first like thought I would give to everyone, and especially for the folks who aren't familiar maybe as much with that space, is there's a lot of systems, and for the veterans and prior service folks in the room, you probably know what I mean when I say that, and so the kind of the jargon, the vernacular you hear when you ask people, hey, how do you do your job? And that can be things that, are very, very analogous to what goes on in the civilian world. The Army is 1.4-ish million people now, so they got an HR department, right? And it's a big one, because it's a big organization. And when you ask, the Army HR, the G1, what do you do? It looks a lot like what happens at, large companies and things around the world. And then, of course, the Army does things that, companies don't do. They shoot stuff, and most companies don't shoot stuff. And the reality is that, AI can be really, really useful and transformative to kind of both those parts of the Army world. It can be useful to the back office. It can help HR departments kind of say, hey, who's at a point in their Army career where they're ready to go to this school or to this training, or might deserve a look for, a more specialized, set of training and skills, or, who, again, it's a large organization. Maybe who's maybe not doing so good, who's maybe at risk of a step back in their career, a serious incident, other things, and informing folks who care and are responsible for that person that, hey, there might be a challenge there. And then there's the stuff, that gets on Netflix, right? And then that's intelligence, that's operations. If you take, basic things like, I said shoot stuff, and I don't mean that flippantly, but within the Army, like one kind of core task there is something called calling for fires, which is that like, I need something, whether that's artillery, a mortar, something big, something indirect to kind of help me out, an aircraft, what have you. How do you do that? You know, and when you look at it today, and for the folks in the room who are familiar with that, I hope I'm not completely stepping out of school when I say, like, I think the Army right now has about 6 or 7 systems of record, big, think like the equivalent of like an SAP or an Oracle, some big monolithic system that handles a small part of that. Data that gets transferred between any 2 of those systems, sometimes it's done machine to machine, but it's janky, it's brittle. A lot of times it's done by a human being, reading off of one monitor, typing it into another monitor, talking to a human being at a second terminal. What does that do? It slows us down and it introduces the possibility of error. And so when we look at like what AI is doing, I think, and you say like, let's talk about AI and let's talk about the Army, people are gonna jump to Skynet. They're gonna jump to kind of like the most Hollywood example you can. And I think the reality is like both much more prosaic and much more profound. And this, like the prosaic sense is like, it's helping us move data point to point to make better, safer decisions faster. That's it, and that sounds very banal. But the profound part of that is that like, that fundamentally transforms like what we can do as an Army, right? In the same way that you think about other technologies that did that, like GPS. Like, what can you do as an Army? What can you do as a military when you just kind of automatically know where you are and where everybody else is in the world, you know, for free, you know, loosely speaking? You can do a lot of stuff. You can do a lot of cool stuff. You can transform the way you conduct your business. And now AI is kind of like enabling this, and I'm going to bring it back, I think, to the educational world here with this. When you free up people, when you say, hey, like, we no longer need people to, you know, pass data by hand. Humans are error prone. The dull, the dirty, the repetitive work of data transfer, don't have humans do that. We're bad at that. Like, have humans do what we're good at, you know, which is like reacting to novelty, extrapolating from learned experience. Like, that's the stuff that human beings are really good at. And when we get them in that role and kind of out of the previous role, I think you can do a lot of really, really powerful things. And so maybe to just kind of land the plane here, you know, like in the civilian world, you know, stepping out of that, like what skills matter for this? I mean, like, you know, agency, right? I mean, like when we think about like chatbots, we think about ChatGPT, like maybe it's not the best right now, but like what's it like to have, you know, I'm the father of 2 young children. I got a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old, and if anybody else is in that kind of stage in their life, you know, like we're right in the middle of like the whys, you know, why this, why this, why this? It's awesome. Unfortunately, like they're smart and like they exhaust my ability to answer those questions pretty quickly. And like now the fact that in your pocket you have like a B- botanist when your kid is asking you questions about like, what's that tree? Why is that flower the color it is? You know, why do leaves turn colors? And like, you can answer it. And then the agency of like, and now let's do an experiment, and now let's explore, let's go do something with it. Like, it's not a replacement, you know, for human thought. If anything, like I'd say like it's this incredible enablement function to like actually let us do more. But the kind of bridge between those two things is like you have to have agency. Like you cannot be a passive recipient of information. And, you know, you say that kind of like back to the DoD side, like that's just kind of blatantly obvious, you know, but for the folks here, you know, in education and in doing that, I mean, hopefully you're seeing that in your classrooms with your students too. Like they're here for a reason, like they're here to learn. And I think like those same lessons can really carry across.
Great. Dr. Rees, can you tell us how can we verify and validate information generated by AI, especially how you are doing this? I know you mentioned a little bit on your previous comments as well.
Yes, because the ethical use is one of the big things as educators we need to be focusing on. How do we teach them to use it, but to use it correctly? And for anything, crap in, crap out. That's one of the things I tell my students, literally. If you are not putting in enough information that is knowledgeable, truly, if you're going to use this to its full extent, the people that utilize it effectively are knowledgeable people, because then they can sift through hallucinations a little bit more quickly. So that is one of the things that we have to be aware of and actually show our students how to do. So that's why I force them to do it ethically. And I have some students that were very resistant to using this, especially some of my more non-traditional older students. But in healthcare, they are showing EKG interpretation is one of the big things, and I've taught it for many years, and nurses are scared of it. Guess what? AI does a better job. You really do want something in there saying, yes, this person's having a heart attack, or they're having this type of arrhythmia. So what that's allowing us to do then is to free up our bandwidth to actually do the things that are personal in nursing. So we teach nursing management, I teach nurse management, nursing research, and community health. So I am hopefully showing them how to use it in a way to free them up to do the things that are only done by people, by a caring healthcare professional, and knowing that that part is accurate. But how do they validate that? They have to have some knowledge first. So how I show them how to do that is I give them false data, and I have them go through it, and I have to have them identify it. So that's one of the, and it's actually kind of fun. It's a fun way to go in, and it's a low stakes way to do that. One of the easiest assignments I do with AI is they just do an introduction. That's a no-brainer, right? This is who I am, this is my background, and I tell them to change the tone of it, change how they want it to be viewed. One of the big things at the end of this course, because I've integrated it throughout, was it's not as good as I thought it was. And that's right. People think it's going to replace everything. Those that utilize it, though, fine. It's only as good as what you put into it and then how you use it. It doesn't answer all the questions. You have to continually be questioning it. So I teach them, I said, be very cynical. Whenever you're looking at things and somebody says, this is what the research says, prove it. And that's what I make them do, prove it. So every reference, and it's not completely APA, has to have a hyperlink that I can find it because I'm going to question as well. And so that's how we can teach others then how to use this ethically and to question things. So, I mean, I've done great work through generative AI, but it was half hallucinations. And being able to identify that is what we have to teach people how to do. And then they can say, okay, this is a tool. It doesn't replace me. This is not replacing what it is I as a person need to do, but I need to constantly be questioning.
Thank you. Dr. Lee, how do you think we can, some of the parents are also worried about their kids utilizing AI. They think they're paying for high tuitions and so forth, or sending them to universities and colleges, and they're utilizing AI and getting all these answers, and they're not writing paragraphs of, papers and so forth, and especially with your marketing department and your marketing department. Tell us how you think that we can let our parents know that they are actually learning the new skills, even though if they're utilizing AI.
So this semester, I had very experimental curriculum. I already incorporate several AI tools, but last semester, my digital marketing class, I almost every week I introduced the new AI tools. And I will submit a paper related to this innovative curriculum today, fingers crossed for my publication. But for that, I interviewed several students very in-depth way. But what I find really interesting is students don't think AI is just a tool can make everything happen and then solve every problem what they have. But with those kind of 16 weeks, using the maturity and then learn the responsibility, as Dr. Don also mentioned, and Dr. Roberto mentioned, Rabasco mentioned, by learning, this is not going to work with this prompt. And, there's the hallucination, so I should prompt this way. So with that maturity, they see AI is not just a tool, but they see that as a partner. It's kind of collaborator. So, and then what I feel also really interesting is they feel they have the ownership of this relationship. So not the AI just pull them and then just like they are led by AI, but they feel I'm a director of this this collaboration, and I judge what is good or not, and then I give another kind of critical feedback and then make it better. So I think this is how the students should grow in the university and learning the AI skills. So not just kind of creating very cool like video, rather than that, those kind of thinking different way, and how we can collaborate with the AI with a different mindset is important. So in the beginning, I read the news article. In the 2022 computer science department in the nationally, they blocked not using AI for coding. So you're not allowed to learning coding and using AI and just write it. And some write that. But recently I read the news articles that Stanford now they still teach coding, but they help them to students using AI handle more the strategic mind. So definitely there are some parts that AI is doing better, kind of memorizing or some kind of coding line by line. Maybe AI might be the best. But by using AI, how we can be more productive and how we can do better things, what human can do better, those keep thinking about those pathways. I think that is a more productive way, and then we become more competitive using AI. Recently, I attended CES in Las Vegas last week, and the keynote speaker say, every week, U.S. workers save 8.7 hours per week by using AI. So maybe those kind of memorizing thing or the data transferring, AI might be done better. So then we can do more creative and then thinking more creatively that what we can do. I also have a child, have 4-year-old, and she just started keep asking why and why. And I don't give her ChatGPT or Gemini yet, but we are trying to do prompt engineering together. So when my daughter asks, Mommy, why sky is blue? Then I ask her, so why do you think about the sky is blue? And then she has some kind of very pretty story. Oh, maybe the angel color at night, like that. But I'm just keep asking her, also thinking why. So not just take the AI's answers as a granted, but keep thinking why, or some kind of creative or critical edge. I think that is the key things living in this AI era.
Thank you. I heard recently, I was not able to go to CES, but I heard that was one of the best ones in the last decade or so. So I'm glad that you were able to attend that. Dr. Rubesco, I think we should talk about our customers now. Customers means our students. What 3 skills they should have, every graduate should have? Does not matter which major they're in, if they're on CIS or they're doing accounting. We have an accounting professor here now. Just to make, what is the 3 core skills that they should have before they graduate in this AI era? Because I think that's another concern for parents, grandparents, like what exactly they will be doing, because everybody is saying that AI is taking the jobs away. So what they should do?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think maybe to anchor my answer first. I think my favorite perspective on AI actually kind of comes from way back in the day. In Plato, and the same Plato at Texas A&M is a new hot button topic, but not that Plato. One of the dialogues, they talk about technology, and specifically the technology that Socrates is speaking about is that of writing. And in the 2026 vernacular, I believe, you would say that Socrates has a crash out about writing, because he says, hey, the way people get smart is by learning and memorizing things. And with this new technology, you don't have to be smart. You don't have to remember anything. It can be on this paper because you wrote it down. And he's like, this is going to fundamentally wreck the students of tomorrow because they're going to be dumb, because they lack the ability they lack the need, to memorize. And so, obviously, like, that's a little bit on the nose if I say that, hey, this has been like a concern that, human beings have had pretty much since the dawn of technology. Like, what's it going to mean for us? And I don't want to trivialize that change, right? I mean, pick your example. The birth of this country, something like 95% or something of people in America were farmers. That was still true around the time of the Civil War or close to it. By World War II, that was 15%. Nowadays it's less than 1%. We have transformed from a nation of farmers to a nation where just about no one does that, any longer. Like, unbelievable, impactful change on what it means for society, what it means, like, we have cities because of this, fundamentally our society is different because of that. Doesn't mean it's bad. I would argue in the main that I always kind of, I've kind of voted with my feet, right? I view technology as this profound force for good in the world, but nonetheless, it will change that. A little bit closer to home. My first company, we were a high-frequency trading firm. We traded stocks and things like that. And when we got started, our idea was like, hey, we're going to do it with computers. We're going to do it with AI. It was that simple. And so when we got started, we kind of got laughed out of the room. The Goldman Sachs of the world were like, you don't understand what it means to be a trader at Goldman Sachs. It means, you have close to a 4-digit IQ. You probably went to an Ivy League college. You got good grades there. You applied for a job here. We saw thousands of people who looked like that, and maybe we took what we thought was the top 1%. Then we put you on a trading desk. We didn't let you even touch a button for 5 years. You learned at the knee of somebody who'd been doing this for 20 years. And then, and maybe only then, would we let you start to trade. So the fact that you say an algorithm's going to do it, that's cute, haha, good luck, right? And fast forward about 5 years later, if anybody's ever seen, in movies or on the news, those kind of pits of traders kind of waving tickets and yelling and trading, that's a movie set. None of that is real trading anymore. Over 99.9% of all the stocks and bonds, they're traded on servers, they're data centers in New Jersey. None of that's real anymore. And so that's a little bit closer to home, but that is an example of really, really profound change. So I'm going to talk about the skills, but I want to leaven that with the fact of two things. This will change everything. This will have profound impacts and profound changes in our society. That's not a bad thing. That's not automatically a bad thing, but we have to think about what that means. So, skills. First one, I already kind of alluded to it, but I'm going to foot stomp on it. Agency, right? Your ability to kind of self-orient, goal-orient, set priorities, set tasks, and solve problems, and bring in resources to solve those problems, whether they're in healthcare or marketing or computer science or what have you. That is the meta skill that is the most important thing. For the faculty and folks in the room, I'm sure you've seen that with your students and other folks as well. Their ability to kind of at 18, at 20, at 25, at 30, at 50, wherever they are in life, to set goals, solve those goals, and kind of come to you when there's a challenge or a problem. That's a critical life skill. I think so kind of with that, be a lifelong learner, right? Have agency, be a lifelong learner, challenge yourself. I'm worried about it because I'm getting to that stage in my life where there's new technology coming out and I'm I don't know about that, the whole social media phase completely passed me by. I was I don't like that, but I see that in myself as hey, avoid that rigidity in your thought, avoid that rigidity in what makes your life valuable, what makes your life worth living, and kind of continue to expand on that. And then the third one, it's so I gave you 2 real pie in the sky ones, and everybody's okay, please bring this down under 30,000 feet. I do think quantitative reasoning is still a very, very undervalued skill, or I should say valued and scarce skill, not undervalued. That's a better way to say it. So math, sciences, accounting, just the basic ability to kind of all those sorts of skills. Healthcare is increasingly, I want to say like a mathematical, but it's this weird juxtaposition. You said it very well, where like many of that stuff can be done mechanically, but like leaving that, like interleaving that with the human experience and the human touch and the human understanding, and mapping from one to the other, is a critical skill. So, those would be kind of my top three.
I know Dr. Rhodes and Dr. Jones is working on some kind of integrations with some industry partners now to get the certifications done for their product. Jim, would you tell us a little bit about your product that you guys have currently, that you have created, and how is it differ to the other ones which are already there? And then secondly, how do you see the graduates of this university when they're graduating, especially from the CIS department and others who are getting the IT degrees, how they can utilize those industry certifications? Because hiring a couple of hundred people in my company and so forth, we realized that certifications have its own place for it, and then degrees have its own place for it. But now all these things will be changing in the next 3 to 5 years, in my opinion. So how are you doing the hiring in your company or other companies that you're partners with? And can you give some light to our students and faculty for them to understand how the certification models and the proprietary softwares, StriveWorks or Palantirs or Andurils, all the defense companies which are out there right now?
Yeah, for sure. And so, appreciate you just kind of ratcheting me down slower and slower out of the clouds. So thank you for that. So, very concretely, we've heard like a couple of, I think, through lines in this discussion about AI, right? And I think we've all put a lot of stress on the importance of the end user, whether that's from like how you customize prompts to how you interact with the tool, et cetera. And so, very briefly, to give it very, very concrete with what we do at StriveWorks, we manage kind of all that like plumbing underneath that interaction to ensure that that if there's 50 people performing a task, that the AI models that each of those 50 people are interacting with is the right specific one for his or her job, kind of tailored to what he or she is doing, tailored to how he or she has interacted with it. And then on the backside, they're still fallible as we all are. But the other thing that our software does is kind of manage that retraining. So if a model makes a mistake, how do we capture that mistake? How do we retrain the model to avoid that mistake from happening the next time that user has a similar sort of interaction? So kind of managing that life cycle, that loop, of AI models is very concretely, what we do at StriveWorks. And so the second part of that is like, how do certifications play into it, and like what does it mean, in the job market? And so I'll indulge myself with one more kind of like high level comment, if you will, which is that, in the last 15 years, many folks I think in the room saw like software as a service, or SaaS, this kind of like big business model take over large segments of industry, especially the kind of data and information systems industry. Super valuable, super powerful. And what a lot of those systems end up looking like when you kind of dig into it is there's a front end, there's a GUI, there's a thing that users interact with. There's a database, there's a back end, there's a thing that stores data. And there's like a lot of like rules and just kind of automation that connects those two things. So if I'm Epic, if I'm a healthcare system, there's rules that govern how, data that a healthcare provider or a patient might type into that GUI kind of flows into that database, or how data that is in that database might get presented to an insurance company, to a healthcare provider, to other people. And obviously, especially in healthcare, there's really important rules on like who gets to see what data for what usage. And so the whole SaaS industry was really focused on, whether you're booking a flight or you're trying to get an MRI, putting those rules together in the middle to connect that front end, that GUI, with that back end, that database, right? All that is getting eaten today by AI. Just absolutely getting eaten. And so what does that mean from a job and a job market perspective? What it means is that there is an extraordinary demand for the folks who understand these business processes well enough to help build, kind of train and implement that next generation of AI systems that's going to replace all those SaaS systems. You know, there are companies like Mercor and Scale AI and others who have kind of said, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of like extract that knowledge from those subject matter experts and kind of use that as a data product for other folks who want to build the AI. And then there's a lot of other companies who are actually saying, like, we're going to take that in-house. So, you know, from a certification perspective, if you understand an industry, if you understand healthcare, if you understand insurance, if you understand, you know, this, that, if you understand air traffic control, you know, I think there's going to be an extraordinary demand for folks who can take that kind of like, hey, here are the rules of the road for this business, for this industry, for this workflow. I understand how AI works well enough to kind of contribute to mapping those rules of the road onto an AI model that can then start to replace those more rigid rules-based systems. So like from a certification perspective, are you building, you know, ChatGPT 6? No, you're not. But are you taking one of those models and fine-tuning it and tweaking it and delivering it to say, hey, like 99.9 times out of 100, this does the same thing as a human being would. This does the same thing as what one of those legacy rules-based systems would. That's happening in every industry right now, and there's just such a dearth of talent for the people who can do that mapping. Like the demand is, you know, extraordinary right now, and I think kind of a concrete thought I'd point folks in the room toward.
All right, I don't want to get in trouble by Ms. Vicky, so as the time we are getting on, so can you, anybody has any questions for the panelist? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Carly Leisure, Executive Director for Enrollment Services and Strategic Initiatives. Really appreciate this conversation, so thank you all. My husband works for Worldwide Grocery with Amazon, formerly known as Whole Foods, and he sits on the AI Forum for National Association for Talent and Development. So we often have dinner conversations about AI, and most recently we've been talking about the potential risks of the degradation of critical thinking skills, and so I appreciate some of the comments that you made on that. And I hesitate to even approach this question, but I'm curious about your perspectives on, in higher education, we've kind of been battling this value of a college degree question. I think you hit on it a little bit, Dr. Rubesco, with some of the certificates, but how do you all see AI playing into that existential question?
I'll start first. I think me and Dr. Rhodes and Dr. Jones had some several times had some intense conversations about that in the last few months, that how we will utilize the AI in the higher education system. I think I was fortunate enough to have some conversations with the governor's office too, and the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board had a conversation with the executive director and Dr. Rhodes together. I think it's a challenge if we'll make it as a challenge. So I'm so glad to see nursing department and marketing department, which those were not the two that I was thinking at least that will be utilizing AI. I don't know, Jim, what you think, but I was not expecting those two. So when I received those in the email, I was very, very excited about that. So that's one. Number two is, I think the value for education system, I don't think educational institution will ever go away. I think how we will change that utilizing AI, because everybody asked this question that students are sitting in the classroom and a professor is doing the presentation, a normal presentation that he or she created about that, and the student is sitting on their laptop and typing it in ChatGPT and already knows those answers and so forth. So how we will, and that's the reason I'm glad to hear from Dr. Lee the things that she is utilizing, even in the marketing courses, will be really, really useful for people to realize that it's just not the degree, but all these other things like Jim mentioned about critical thinking, and all those things are making you a better employee for companies. For small businesses like mine, we are always looking for people who can do not just one job, but a couple of different things. Because Jim's company or other companies that we discussed earlier, they might be way larger than the small businesses or small to medium-sized businesses. So how they are utilizing the critical thinking part of the thing is very, very important. And then I think I'm a big believer of having mentors while you're getting education, and then of course having internships, getting internships done. I know Jim's company does that a lot. Now military is doing it for the last 5 to 7 years, right before they're getting out, about 5 to 6 months, up to 6 months or so. So I think educational institution's not going to go away. I think we as an educational institution will be changing our modeling for education. I'll let Jim answer that as well.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I'll try to constrain myself to say, like, yeah, like, it is going to be a change, and like hopefully, I think kind of like a really positive focus of that is it creates, you know, if writing allowed us to not spend time, you know, memorizing, you know, maybe this is one of these tools that allows, you know, kind of us in the time that we have in the educational system to like spend more time learning skills, right? Because that's something that I think is extraordinarily valuable, and if that helps get us there, that's great.
Anyone else? Yes, sir. Let's go first.
I'm a historian here, and at the risk of sounding like a Luddite, I'm really not. I use AI as a search tool. I use AI as a search tool and a translation tool. I teach students how to do that. AI doesn't write for me or for my students, as long as I can help it. It's a wonderful technology. I am concerned about the nefarious use of that technology and the lack of regulation surrounding it to make sure it's used ethically and in the public interest. One of the things that concerns me is, you know, theft of intellectual property, patent, copyright. Could you say something about the public policy side of the emergence of AI?
I think Jim will add to it too, but I know personally myself, as I'm working on some of those initiatives in the Department of War and also in the White House initiatives that they are doing right now. I know state of Texas is coming up with the AI policy as well. They have created one earlier last year as well, but they are modifying it and so forth next year. On the nationally, that's one of the critical things that current administration is working on with Microsoft, Google, Palantir, and others. A lot of other organizations are working together to creating that AI policy. To be honest with you, I think the policy part is one, ensuring that is applied and there will be something afterwards, and how we will be able to manage that. That is what questions me currently. I know organizations like ChatGPT and others are also working very diligently together with the law enforcement agencies and so forth, because that's another problem. I know medical associations, American Medical Association and others are also working on this, because getting all that data, before patients used to just Google the information, now they have particular thing that they want dosage of that particular thing. So now it's getting a little bit on a different side. So I think policy makers are working on creating the policy. I think I'm worried about the other part of it, like how we will enforce the policies also. It will be seen in the next, I think, in the next 12 to 18 months. I know there's a big push right now with the current administration. Jim, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, a couple of quick thoughts. I think the first part of it would be, if a through line on a lot of what everybody up here has discussed has been from an individual perspective, the need for agency and ownership, the other side of that coin, of course, is responsibility, meaning that like this is a tool, and if the tool is used for negative purposes, like the existing the person who did it and the existing laws that govern that like should be responsible, right? Like we don't have the ability to disintermediate ourselves if we do something bad by saying an AI tool did it, not me. I think there's a broad consensus on that. Like the challenge becomes just kind of like adapting to the new paradigm and making sure that those kind of like laws and enforcement can actually flow through in the same way that when you could distribute media over a phone line and the internet, while like the same rules for like you can't distribute X, Y, and Z applied, if it was no longer going through the mail and instead going over a fiber optic cable, people had to take a beat to adjust to that technology and make sure that the existing laws were enforced within the new paradigm. So that's, I think, kind of like, pillar one. The second pillar that I just kind of put in there in terms of, so if that part is like, there's always going to be human beings, like, and they're going to be responsible. The second part of it, I'll just kind of give you an analogy from my time in trading markets that I referenced earlier. So regulators there did something really, really interesting that I don't think gets talked about enough. They kind of looked at what was going on and they said, hey, financial markets, they're too complex, they're too fast-paced. To be very blunt, the incentives to game any set of rules that we lay down are so high, we'll constantly be playing catch-up, we'll constantly be playing whack-a-mole. And what they did, and they here being like the SEC and FINRA, kind of said, hey, we've got to actually change the way we think about regulation. We've got to define intent and end state. And the way they defined intent was they said, hey, look, if you want to participate in these markets, you have a positive obligation to support fair and orderly markets. Now, what's fair and orderly, right? Like in the Justice Potter definition, I know it when I see it, and we're going to enforce and govern accordingly. That took a lot of work. That continues to be kind of an evolving standard of law and regulation within those spaces, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see something similar with AI. Like we will not be able to legislate every single edge and corner case where this could be used for malevolence. And so what we're going to have to maybe do is start to explore like intent-based, regulation around these things too, where we're like, hey, look, like we're going to Justice Potter you, and like there's going to be a dialogue around that, but like we're going to acknowledge, have the humility to know that like we won't be able to like line by line legislate this stuff, and instead we'll have to kind of like govern by policy and govern from intent a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Dr. Reese, do you have anything to add? Okay. Dr. Liu, you good?
So actually, I would like to add the previous question. So as I want to say, AI is not replace you, but AI is just is help you to boost your productivity. What I'm trying to say is, your subject matter of expertise is still really important because you have the high level of thinking, and you will be the driver how to set a goal, find a problem, and then direct the AI to solve that problem. So think about kind of in your job, in your experience, like your knowledge is all matter. And when you find kind of small problem, just think about the way how you can solve by using AI. Like even in the daily life, as a mom who after this like arrive at home at 6 p.m. and they have 4-year child like is very hungry and angry, then I have to think about very quick dinner menu. But there's a new term, vibe coding. Maybe you might know vibe coding. Even who don't know about the computer science or the coding language, if you just type, can you generate the app or the website that you can create the dinner menu app, like suggest a dinner menu, then they create an app for you. So those kind of tools are existing, and so now your subject matter of expertise and with your experience, if you find a problem, then you can go to the tool and then try to weigh that how you can be more productive. So that is what I want to add the answer to the, her.
Thank you. I know we don't have that much time. I'm going to take one more question, but it's kind of funny you mentioned about getting dinner menus and so forth. My company is working with HEB right now to coming up with some AI tool for that. So it's coming up in the next 6 months or so. But anyways, all right. Can we have a mic right here? Oh, okay. Go ahead. We'll take one more then.
So my question is actually an end case use. What are your thoughts on AI being used to educate, not so much on education about AI, but education generally, and AI being used for that end purpose?
Dr. Reese?
Well, I'm actually going to go to Dr. Google. Everybody has visited Dr. Google? As a healthcare provider, that is one of the things that we do. So I'm sure everybody here has, hopefully. You look into your medications, you look into your disease process, you look into all of these different things, the signs and the symptoms. So that is going to happen. But whenever you go into that person that has the history of dealing with it, that understands it to a deeper level, that's where we come in as people. So yes, it can be used for that end product of actually learning about different things. But people won't be replaced as the experts in it, because they can help filter out what needs to be filtered and help people not freak out because there was a 0.111% that they're going to get cancer or something from this product. They can then take that together and produce that. I've been doing a lot of research on higher ed and AI. There are some research out there that says we're all going to be replaced. Everybody across the board is going to be replaced, and it's all going to be by a chatbot. COVID-19 actually showed us we need people. It did push us, but it also it validated us as people. Doesn't mean your job's not going to change, and it doesn't mean you're not going to be having more things to do because it's taken that away. But hopefully people are using it responsibly, but then the expert is the one that can come in and help guide.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay. Real quick, and this kind of relates to that filtering. So Dr. Lee, you talked about kind of the prompt engineering, because there's kind of the two pieces, right? The user and the AI. And then Dr. Rebesco, you talked about working on reducing the errors on the machine side. So I'm just curious, I really don't know, are there discussions about cultural sensitivity on the machine side? Learning that, okay, this same exact phrase, if said by this person from this culture, is going to mean this, but by this person, it's going to mean something else, particularly in the health field. So is that part of the discussion?
Go ahead, Dr. Reese.
So yes, they actually did have it where when you used to put in prompts, the AI would reply with, "You're so smart, you're so great," but it was actually for suicide. Yes, this is a great idea. Okay, so that's a very hard one to think about, but my colleagues and I have talked about this. So they did have to put in changes based on, and that it's not culturally specific, but it is the fact of this is creating culture as well, and where it's not always telling you that you're right. And that was a great idea. Honestly, if you have low self-esteem, go onto one of those AI sites. They're going to tell you you're fabulous. And they're going to tell you everything that you have is fabulous. In your prompt engineering, you have to tell it, do not tell me I'm always right. Please give me. Okay, so that's one of the things. We know that these were developed by more affluent countries where the individuals themselves will have bias. So yes, it will have bias. It's not going to be culturally sensitive. They're trying to put those in there, but the person has to take responsibility for everything that they submit for my students. That this is your voice and this is saying exactly what you want it to say. So.
Thank you. I'll make sure that the staff over here has our email addresses, so you can please email us and we'll be happy to reply to your questions if there's any more. Please give a big round of applause for our panelists.
once again, give them a round of applause. That was fascinating. The final part of our program is to honor somebody who's done a lot of work to make sure that Texas A&M Central Texas can do what we want to do to educate the populace. And there's a certain gentleman that we're here to honor today. You know, one of the things that I asked is, my predecessor, Dr. Mark Negliasso, worked with this young man for quite a few years. And so I asked Mark if he would give me a statement about David Rahino. And so this is what he gave me. Those of us at Texas A&M University Central Texas who have had the fortunate enough to know and work with David Rahino during his tenure with the Texas A&M University system have come to fully understand the meaning of commitment and the exceptional impact possible from it. For David's commitment to the growth and development of the system has included a consistent commitment to the growth and development of Texas A&M University Central Texas, and his vigilance, his presence, and his engagement have been both continuous and effective. Dr. Mark Negliasso. With that, we are going to honor you today with a proclamation from Texas A&M University Central Texas. And I'm going to read this proclamation. It's fairly lengthy because you have a number of years of service with Texas A&M. Proclamation to David Rahino. Whereas since 2009, Texas A&M University Central Texas has been a regional university within the Texas A&M University system, a unique institution of higher education embracing the potential of our students in Central Texas, the state of Texas, and the nation. And whereas our proud mission celebrates our bold purpose and extraordinary impact, created and nurtured by our founders, supporters, communities, and advocates, and whereas over the past 16 years, our university has continued to grow steadily, as evidenced by a total of 12,823 baccalaureate and graduate degrees awarded, and a resulting $77 million in local economic impact and $468 million in statewide economic impact. And whereas our accomplishments as a university are a reflection of the individuals who have imagined our existence as crucial to the educational and economic well-being of our citizens. And whereas, as an Assistant Vice Chancellor for Governmental Relations for the Texas A&M University System, David Rahino fulfilled and exceeded expectations of those regional universities he served with unwavering leadership, indefatigable energy and passion, been strategic intellect and humility as a system-wide advocate for our students, staff, faculty, and communities. And whereas his numerous legislative accomplishments include securing the state funding for our creation and the subsequent transition from Tarleton, Central Texas to Texas A&M University Central Texas in 2009, over $160 million in capital funds from the state and the Texas A&M University system for every campus building project, and legislative appropriation requests, including exceptional items requests to enable expansion of the university's reach through programs such as the East Williamson County Higher Education Center, Transfer Central, and the Military Talent Pipeline. Whereas those who selflessly championed our creation and continued growth and who advocated for our ongoing development, allowing the university to continuously prosper and thrive in those 16 years as deserving of the higher recognition, deserving of a fellow warrior. And whereas his well-deserved retirement, notwithstanding, the university, as well as generations of Central Texans, are indebted to him for his unparalleled and lasting impact on the development and the future of our university. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Dr. Richard M. Rhodes, President of Texas A&M University Central Texas, on behalf of the entire university community, extend our respect, gratitude, and heartfelt appreciation to David Rahino, who has made an indelible mark on the university he helped to create. Be it further proclaimed that this proclamation serves as a testament to his 18-year career of sustained contributions to the system's legislative success and continuity in state relations, and as an expression of our deep respect and admiration. And in witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the Texas A&M University Central Texas to be affixed this 15th day of January 2026. David, could you join me? I'm putting him on the spot to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rhodes. I appreciate this recognition, but I just want to tell everybody here, I mean, I'm between here and y'all's lunch, but the store, I mean, the only reason what he went through, that we were able to succeed and progress as much as we have, is because of the community support that, I mean, the founders who wanted this university pushed hard. We had good stories to tell on every initiative project that we did, and oftentimes we came to people in this room for y'all's, facts or setting up legislative visits. But the other thing over my career, and people always give me grief when they're like, "Hey, your hair is a lot different color than when you started." And I'm like, well, that's dealing with the legislature. But the good thing with Colleen and CT was we never really had a real headache compared to other institutions, because we always had the support of the community. But the key thing that I'm always going to remember is we always had good members. I mean, our members that we've always had, we've been so blessed to have Mr. Aycock, who, took us under the wing. I mean, we've had Mr. Buckley now. I mean, that's been the key to success. And I just want to, this is, in looking back on everything, I've worked with 5 institutions throughout my career, and from where Stan Calvert he was the vice chancellor at the time when I started doing this. We worked on this and we progressed, and it's so good when we come here and we're driving up and you can see it. I mean, it makes it all worthwhile and everything that we have, but that's only because of here, and we all do it for the students. Somebody was telling me, how do y'all always work on telling that story, but the story is always told through the students, and that always resonates. So thank y'all for everything, and I've been honored and privileged to work with y'all throughout my career.
I just got to work with David in one session, but I remember we were walking through the Capitol, I think the first time that we were together, and I swear every single person in the Capitol knew who David was, and I thought, is your picture in the post office or what? But no, and I tell you what, when you want to have the right conversations with legislators, you need to be prepared in advance before you go in there to anticipate what the questions are. David set that stage every single visit we had and guided me through that to let me know what are the potential landmines that we might face, what are the questions that are going to be most obvious on their minds as we're taking a proposal to them. So David, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you. You're a great coach, you're a great leader, and thank you for all you've done for Texas A&M University Central Texas. And he brought his whole team with him here. And I'll tell you what, that whole team right here on this front row are just incredible. Do so much. And Stanton Calvert, matter of fact, he was on my dissertation committee, and I still passed. So thank you all. Have a great semester. God bless you all.